If you've ever clicked on a strange website at 3 in the morning, don't. I did, and now I can't undo it. I can't close my laptop without feeling watched. I can't shut my eyes without hearing whispers that don't belong to me. And I can't walk through my own apartment without checking shadows that seem just a little too patient. And here's the worst part. If you're listening to me now, you're not safe either. I know how it sounds. Paranoid, delusional, like the rambling of some burned out insomniac with a Wi-Fi connection and nothing better to do. That's what I would have thought too. I used to laugh at people like me, the ones who claimed the internet could follow you home, crawl into your life, invade your skin. The kind of people who tell you to never click suspicious links like it's a campfire ghost story. But this isn't about viruses or scams or some shady hacker stealing your credit card number. I wish it were that simple. A fraud charge on my bank account would have been a blessing compared to what's happening now. It all started on one of those nights where boredom gnaws at you like hunger. You know the kind. You're lying there in the dark, screen glowing on your face, bouncing between Reddit threads, YouTube rabbit holes, old message boards with dusty cobweb posts from years ago. You're not even really looking for anything. You're just scrolling to scroll, waiting for something weird enough, scary enough to break the monotony. And then I found it. Or maybe it found me. A link with no preview, buried in a forum I don't even remember clicking into. It just said, "Do you want to know when you're alone?" I thought it was a joke. Some cheap attempt at being creepy. I mean, the internet is full of that stuff. ARGs, viral marketing, creepypasta knockoffs. People trying to get a rise out of strangers. And I was tired, too tired to care, but just awake enough to think, fine. Let's see what kind of recycled jump scare this is. So I clicked, and I thought it was just another dumb horror site. Until it spoke my name. Not my username. Not the one tied to the forum. My actual, legal name. The one I never use online. It appeared on the screen in stark black text, like it had been waiting. "Hello, my name." I froze. Maybe you think I'm exaggerating, but imagine it yourself. Sitting alone at night. Nothing but the hum of your laptop and the buzz of a dying light bulb. And then your own name greets you from the void. Not typed by you, not spoken by anyone in the room, but written there like a message sent across the wires of the universe. I try to laugh it off. Glitch, coincidence, prank. That's what my rational brain told me. But my stomach twisted with something colder, something primal, because deep down I knew there was no way I could have known that. I should have closed the tab. I should have shut the laptop, unplugged it, maybe even smashed it. But curiosity is poison. And fear, real fear, has a way of gluing you to the spot, daring you to keep watching. I wish I could tell you that was the worst of it, that it stopped at my name, that it was just some weird trick. But no, the site knew things, private things, things I've never told another living soul. And if you're thinking you're safe because you didn't click, you're wrong. Just by hearing me now, you're in its reach. It knows I'm talking to you. It knows you're listening. And sooner than you think, it'll know your name too. I'm not the type of person who usually falls for internet gimmicks. I've spent years lurking in the corners of the web, The kinds of places most people don't even know exist. You could call it boredom, or maybe an addiction to chasing weirdness. Either way, my nights usually look the same. Me, my dimly lit room, my laptop screen burning into my retinas while I scroll until my brain goes numb. I'd hop between subreddits dedicated to creepy mysteries, old internet legends, unsolved ARGs that had fizzled out years ago. You know the kind. Threads full of people arguing whether a blurry screenshot meant haunting or hoax. Sometimes I'd wander into abandoned forums, the ones with posts dated 10 years back, still hanging in cyberspace like forgotten tombstones. And I'll be honest, there's something almost comforting about it. The absurd usernames, the broken links, the dead images that never load. It's like digital archaeology, a graveyard of people who once thought they were onto something big, but then just vanished. That night wasn't different at first. I had an energy drink sweating on the desk, headphones tossed aside because even music was too much stimulation, and my cat had curled into a lump on the bed, blissfully ignorant of my descent into internet hell. I was half thinking of going to sleep, half thinking of searching scariest websites like some cliché horror tourist, when I landed in a thread I didn't recognize. It wasn't active, but a handful of users had been posting cryptic messages as recently as a week ago. Most of it looked like nonsense, scrambled ASCII art, vague warnings, inside jokes I wasn't part of. But one post stood out. It was short, just a link and a question. Do you want to know when you're alone? Now, I've seen my share of don't click this bait. Usually it leads to a screamer video or some malware site pretending to be a virus scan. But there was something different about this one. Maybe it was the way the text was written. Not a dare, not a joke, but a calm, almost casual invitation. I hovered over it for longer than I want to admit. Part of me thought, this is dumb. It's probably nothing. Another part whispered, what if it's not? Before I did anything, I messaged a friend of mine on Discord. Me, you check this out. Some sketchy forum dropped a link. Says, do you want to know when you're alone? LOL. Friend, Omia, that sounds like one of those Rickroll spin-offs. Don't tell me you're actually tempted. Me, it's 2:47 a.m. I'm always tempted. Friend, man, you're gonna fry your PC one of these days. It's fake. 100%. He spammed me with laughing emojis until I muted the chat. Typical. He loved to play skeptic whenever I went digging into internet oddities. To him, everything was either a scam or a prank. And honestly, I wanted to agree with him. I wanted to believe it was nothing. But something about that phrase burrowed into me. Do you want to know when you're alone? Most websites ask for attention. Click here, sign up by now. This one wasn't selling anything. It was asking a question I didn't want answered but couldn't stop thinking about. I stared at the link until my vision blurred, refreshing the forum page once, twice, as if expecting the post to disappear. It didn't. It just sat there, quiet, patient, waiting. Me, what if it's like one of those old ARG entry points? Remember Cicada? Friend. Yeah, and 99% of those were just nerds wasting time. Me, but 1% weren't. He didn't respond after that. Probably fell asleep or got bored of humoring me. But the silence only made me feel more like I was standing on the edge of something I couldn't back away from. So I clicked. I won't tell you what I saw just yet. Not fully. Because if I describe it all at once, you'll tune out, write me off, and think I'm exaggerating. But what I will say is this. The moment the page loaded, I felt something shift. Like the static in the room thickened, like the air pressed closer. And remember my friend? The one who laughed? He thought I was chasing ghosts. He thought it was all fake. But when I sent him what the site showed me later, he stopped laughing. In fact, he never messaged me again. When the site finally loaded, it looked empty. Just a white background, plain black text in the center. No graphics. No ads. Not even a logo. Honestly, my first reaction was annoyance. After all the buildup in my head, I thought maybe it hadn't even loaded properly. But then the words changed. One moment the screen was blank, the next it read, "Hello, my name." Not my username. Not the email tied to my account. My actual legal name, staring back at me in stark typeface. Empty. Completely empty. But my heart wouldn't slow down. I turned back to the laptop. Another line had appeared. The shadow in the corner isn't yours. My stomach dropped. I looked again, this time at the far corner of the room near my closet. Nothing. Just the faint outline of my laundry basket, the shape cast long by the lamp on my desk. At least, that's what I told myself. I typed again, fingers slipping over the keys. This isn't funny. The response came immediately. It's not a joke. Look closer. Every nerve in my body screamed, not to, but I did. Slowly, I let my eyes adjust. And for just a split second, I thought I saw it. A shape darker than the rest of the dark. Like a figure crouched low, waiting. I blinked and it was gone. I snapped my head back to the screen, half expecting another taunt. Instead, the page was blank again. Just a blinking cursor. I tried to close the tab. The cursor froze. The screen flickered. The tab stayed open. I tried again, clicking the X until my hand cramped. Nothing. Then, as if mocking me, new words appeared. You can try, but I'll always reopen. Sure enough, when I forced the browser closed, the site launched again on its own. No delay, no loading, just instant, waiting text. At this point, panic started pushing logic out of the way. I thought about ripping the Wi-Fi out of the wall, or maybe throwing the whole laptop out the window. But before I could move, another message appeared. Don't ignore me. You don't want to see what happens when you ignore me. I sat back down, trembling. I told myself it was just code. Just a script someone made to scare people. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the words weren't pre-programmed. They were alive, responsive, a conversation, not a prank. I type again, "What do you want from me?" The answer came so fast, I almost thought it had been waiting. I want you to listen. I want you to believe. My chest tightened. I didn't respond. The cursor blinked. The page stayed silent. I almost convinced myself it was over. Then, the final line appeared deliberate and sharp. Each word landing like a nail driven into wood. That was the first night I told you who else was in your apartment. And that was when I realized I wasn't just being watched. I was being hunted. That I kept telling myself it had to be coincidence. A glitch, a lucky guess, some elaborate script designed to freak people out. That's what I wanted to believe anyway. But the more I tried to rationalize it, the more impossible it became. The site didn't just know my name. It knew me. I remember staring at the screen, my heart hammering when the words shifted again. Still in that black hoodie? I froze. I looked down. Sure enough, I was wearing the ratty black hoodie I always threw on when it was cold night. My hands went cold. I hadn't posted a picture. I hadn't turned on my webcam. Hell, I covered the damn thing with tape months ago because of paranoia about hackers. And yet there it was, plain as day. I told myself it was a common guess. Black hoodies are everywhere. Everyone owns one. But then another line appeared, killing that excuse dead. And those socks don't match, do they? My stomach nodded, because they didn't. My right sock had stripes, my left was plain gray. I hadn't even noticed until that moment. I typed furiously, "How are you doing this?" The cursor blinked. You already know. I slammed my fist against the desk. I didn't know. I didn't want to know. That's when my phone buzzed. The sudden vibration made me jump so hard I nearly toppled my chair. I snatched it up and saw my friend's name on the screen. But before I answered, the website updated. Pick up. He's calling about the link. I stared at it, then at my phone, then back again. Slowly, like I was testing fate, I swiped to accept. Yo, my friend's voice crackled through. You still awake? I was thinking about that creepy site you sent me. Dude, it's probably just some dumb scare thing. I nearly dropped the phone. I stammered. It knew you were gonna call. What? It told me. Just now. Before you rang. He laughed. Of course he laughed. Bro, you're letting this get in your head. It's just a script. Like predictive stuff. Coincidence. But I wasn't convinced. And when I looked back at the laptop, I felt my throat close up. Tell him you're scared. The words glared at me from the blank page, like a command. My friend was still talking, some half-hearted reassurance about malware. But I interrupted, whispering, I am scarred, Mum. There was a long pause on the line. Wait, are you serious right now? Before I could answer, new text appeared. He doesn't believe you, but he should. I snapped a screenshot and sent it to him. A minute passed, then another. Finally, he replied with a single message. Friend, okay, that's actually freaky. How did it know I was calling? Me, I told you. Friend, dude, I'm not kidding. This is unsettling. Send me another screenshot if it does something else. I didn't have to wait long. He thinks this is fake. He thinks you're playing him. He'll stop laughing when his lights go out. I froze. I typed, what lights? No response. Just that single, ominous line sitting there. I screen capped it and sent it. This time he didn't reply right away. Then, friend, LOL good one. You're trolling me. But even through text, I could sense it. That little crack in his bravado. The nervous laugh typed out of habit. The website shifted again. He's stalling. He doesn't want to admit he's afraid. I didn't send that one. I couldn't. I felt like I'd be digging a deeper hole for both of us. Instead, I closed my laptop as hard as I could. The screen went black. I told myself it was over. Out of sight, out of mind. But the paranoia didn't stop. I kept glancing over my shoulder, expecting that shadow in the corner to solidify. I clutched my phone like it was a lifeline. That's when another buzz came through. My friend again. This time it wasn't a call. It was a message. Friend, dude. WTF. Me what? Friend. My lights just flickered. I stared at the screen, every hair on my arms standing on end. My reply barely made sense. Me, are you serious? Friend. It went out, just for a second, then back, and then, seconds later, another line appeared on the website. I told you. I always know. I couldn't breathe. For the first time, I started to wonder if this wasn't just a site. Maybe it wasn't even on the internet the way we think of it. Maybe it was something else entirely. A network, not of computers, but of people. Souls. Things that live between wires and signals, bleeding into our world whenever we gave them a chance. I don't know. I don't have the answers. All I know is it felt old. Older than the forums, older than the web itself. Like it had been waiting for me long before I was born. And I wasn't the first. I went back to the forum where I'd found the link. I started digging deeper and deeper until I found a thread buried beneath years of dead chatter. Posts from users who sounded just like me. They talked about the same greetings, the same rules, the same warnings, and one by one, their posts stopped. No farewells, no goodbyes, just silence. Somebody had written, if you find the site, don't engage. Don't answer its questions. Don't give anything. That user hadn't posted again after that. I wanted to stop. I wanted to pull the plug, erase everything, pretend I'd never clicked that cursed link. But I couldn't, because some part of me needed to know just how deep this went. And because the site wouldn't let me leave. Their homes, their lives, their future. And every time, after the 7th video, the posts would stop. Accounts deleted. Users gone quiet. I sat there staring at the glow of my laptop screen, my room silent except for the pounding of my heart. I should have stopped. I should have slammed the lid shut, walked away, never touched the site again. But curiosity has a way of sinking its claws into you. Besides, I told myself, maybe those old posts weren't real. Maybe it was all just part of some elaborate story passed around like a campfire tale. That's what I told myself. Anyway, as the clock crept closer to 3:33 again, I promised I wouldn't click this time. I swore it. But when the channel reappeared, when the next upload appeared with that same blank thumbnail, my hand moved on its own. I didn't even realize I was smiling until I heard my own voice whisper, "Just one more." And that's when I broke the rule. That's when I went past the 7th upload. They always said not to go past the 7th video. ID Reddit on old forums, buried in half-deleted Reddit threads, whispered like a curse in broken English, "Stop at 7." It was always vague, always a warning without context, like people were too afraid to put it into words. And that vagueness only made me want to see it more. By the time that seventh upload appeared, I was a wreck. Nights blurred together. I couldn't focus at work, couldn't hold a conversation without glancing over my shoulder. My friends noticed the dark circles under my eyes, the twitch in my voice. I told them I wasn't sleeping. That wasn't a lie. But none of them knew the real reason. None of them knew that every night, at 3:33, I was watching myself unravel frame by frame. That night, my hands shook as I refreshed the channel. There it was, blank profile, single video, timestamped 3:33. I hovered over it for a long time, whispering under my breath, don't, don't. And then I clicked. The video opened on black. No static, no background noise, just silence so thick it made me aware of my own breathing. I thought for a second the upload was broken, but then, slowly, words began to form on the screen. White text, typed out like someone was pressing the keys in real time. Hello, Midnight Tales. I froze. My cursor hovered uselessly, my pulse hammering. I hadn't used my real name on YouTube. Not on my account. Not in my email. Not anywhere it could be scraped by a bot. And yet, there it was. Before I could even process it, more text appeared. Are you ready to see yourself? The black screen dissolved into an image. It was me, sitting at my desk. Same clothes I was wearing in that exact moment. Same posture. My laptop open, face washed pale by its glow. But the angle was different. Higher, like a camera was mounted above me, watching. I ripped my headphones off and looked up, half expecting to see a lens hidden in the corner of my ceiling. Nothing, just cracked paint and a buzzing light fixture. When I looked back at the screen, my heart stuttered. The me in the video looked up, slowly, deliberately, like he knew I was watching. And then he smiled. I flinched so hard my chair nearly tipped backward. Because I wasn't smiling. My mouth was pressed tight, my face pale with fear, but the version of me on screen grinned ear to ear, teeth glinting in the glow of the monitor. The whispers came back, louder this time, layered like a choir speaking from inside the static. I pressed pause. Nothing. The whispers kept going, spilling from the speakers, filling the room. I muted the video. Still there. I unplugged my headphones. And still, somehow, I could hear them, inside my skull, slithering just behind my thoughts. I slammed the laptop shut. The whispers stopped. For a second, I thought it was over. I sat there in the dark, heart racing, sweat dampening the back of my shirt. Then, against every instinct, I cracked the laptop open again. The video was still playing, and the me on screen was leaning closer, his grin wider, his eyes black voids swallowing the light. I wanted to stop watching. I swear I did. But my body didn't listen. My eyes burned, refusing to blink, my hands frozen on the keys. The whispers merged into words. One voice, louder than the rest, clear and sharp. Weary coming through. The screen flickered, Frame stuttered. For a moment, I saw flashes, images layered over my doppelganger. My bedroom, but wrong. Walls dripping like they were melting. Shadows moving in unnatural patterns. My bed, twisted into something skeletal, bones jutting where it should be. And then another flash. Not my room. A hallway. Narrow, endless, lit by buzzing fluorescent lights. Something moved at the far end. A figure crawling on all fours, limbs bending wrong, its face hidden in shadow. Back to me at the desk. Back to the grin. Back to those eyes. The video ended abruptly. A single frame of white text lingered for half a second. "We'll see you soon." Then black. I shoved my chair back and staggered to my feet, gasping like I'd surfaced from underwater. My body felt foreign, jittery, like every nerve was sparking at once.